I want to thank everybody for coming today to help us celebrate this joyous occasion. It really is great to see everybody, especially in light of the recent circumstances in the world and not being able to get together. So really appreciate everybody making the trip. I know some of you came from long distances, and we do appreciate it. I thought, as is customary on these occasions, I might
Cry during this?
Yes.
Cry during this?
It was me.
I didn't hear.
As on these occasions, you cry.
Oh, yeah, I do. But as is customary, I'm going to offer some congratulations to the new graduates. I'm going to offer a little bit of perspective on these achievements, really, and also some fatherly advice, which you may choose not to heed, but at least you have to listen to for the next 10 minutes until we come to gate, right? So, anyway, Kristen, congratulations on your graduation. Really, what a tremendous job. You started off your college career with very unfortunate circumstances. You had your parents 4,000 miles away in another country, and yet you started your classes and you did your work. You had some very challenging freshman year issues with roommates and things, and that was certainly something that we couldn't help you with 4,000 miles away, and we feel kind of bad about that, actually.
Kinda, yeah, sort of.
I don't know whether there was also lots of consternation about where to go to college, right? I mean, you even applied to Wisconsin, for crying out loud, because you thought maybe I'd have a job up there. I don't know how you feel about it. I know that you settled upon University of Maryland. I think it was a great decision. I think that having your older sister there for the first year was a great advantage to you, and I hope you feel the same way about your final decision.
I hope you feel the same way that you love Cassie.
There's been a tremendous amount of uncertainty associated with your education and your future job prospects. Lots of indecision about projects and programs and business school and not, and whether to stay in school or take a job. And so you've weathered all of that, and you've shown yourself to be resilient, and you can pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep moving, and really tremendous benefit to you in future life. I think it's a great skill to be that flexible. So, congratulations. We're very proud of you for all of your accomplishments. So, Robin, Dr. Robin. Congratulations to you on this tremendous accomplishment.
Thank you.
You also started your latest educational endeavors in the middle of unfortunate circumstances. Your parents were 4,000 miles away at the time you started too, and you managed to get through. You managed to commute every day into the city of Baltimore. You managed to live alone here for a while, and
With Uncle Ben.
well, I was going to say, you managed to live here with Uncle Jim, which I think was very difficult, actually.
More difficult, yeah.
He's not here to defend himself.
Dinner.
And you didn't burn the house down while we were gone, which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
You had COVID at the same time, right? You're studying.
I did not have COVID.
No. You were going to school
Dealing
in the
with
middle of the COVID problem, right? And
Hi, Kristen.
for an educational pursuit that requires hands-on work with people, that was a significant disadvantage to your education, and you still managed to get through it. So lots of credit to you. One of the other things that we noticed was, you know, it seemed like it went easy for you. You studied, you got an A. You studied, you got an A. You studied, you got an A. And you know, you wound up getting a 4.0. But I think you were just good at hiding the pain and the misery associated with it. When we got back from the Netherlands, we barely saw you. You were always up in your room studying. I think it paid off, obviously, and we wish you the best in your future career here, and I think it's a tremendous accomplishment. So, the other thing I want to say is, we're very proud to have the first doctor in the Wagner family, which is really a tremendous accomplishment. And I want to offer, speaking of, you know, the Wagner family, I want to offer a little perspective on this. So the Wagners haven't been in the United States all that long. My lifetime represents half the time that the Wagners have been here in the United States. Think about that, right? Not that long. My great-grandfather, William Wagner, was born in Endingen, Germany. What was that? Empire of Germany at the time. It's a little place, what's known as the Kaiserstuhl in southwest Germany, outside the Black Forest. And it's called that because it's an old volcanic formation. It looks sort of like a chair. Kaiserstuhl in German means emperor's chair. So he was born there in 1873, and he had a tough life. He had a younger brother who died at 2 years old. His father died when he was 15 years old. And at the age of 17, he decided, you know, I'm going to go off and search for a better life. And it was not, things were tough in Germany at the time. Germany was going through a horrible depression. Catholics in that country were being persecuted. And the pandemic that occurred, what's called the Russian flu, struck right around that time. And that Russian flu killed about 0.7% of the world's population. Almost exactly the same as the circumstances we find ourselves in today, where the current pandemic is killing off about 0.7% of the world's population. So the parallels are kind of interesting. But anyway, in the middle of this pandemic, he picked up, left his widowed mother and his sisters, his 7 sisters, in Germany, and came to the United States with nothing more than the clothes on his back. He managed to convince somebody in the streets of New York that he could help sell fish in the fish markets in the streets of New York. And that's what he did. He was a fish merchant. And then a few years later, he worked hard, he did his best, he saved his pennies, and eventually he had his own fish shop in the Bronx. And Aunt Cheryl just recently, is Aunt Cheryl here? No. Recently discovered the photo of him and his wife, and I believe to be my grandfather in a baby carriage in front of the glass window that says Wagner Fish Market. So she can show you after this. But really, some incredible family history there, right? He didn't have much. He worked hard. And eventually, my grandfather got to the age where he could help support the family. So, you know, got out of elementary school and went to work, doing stuff to help support the family. And eventually, my grandfather took a job with a new technology company, the Bell Telephone Company, which was, you know, just a few years after the telephone had been invented. Okay? And so he took a job as a laborer and a linesman, and he worked stringing telephone lines. So, imagine you pick up your cell phone today and you make a phone call, no big deal, right? It just goes through the air. Well, back in the day, they had to put lines through the streets to communicate, and when you wanted to make a phone call, you had to hit the receiver a couple of times on the phone and get an operator and say, I want to talk to Joe Smith in this location, and they would then make the connection.
I remember that.
So, anyway, didn't have much, worked hard, eventually worked his way into management in Bell Telephone, didn't have a college education, didn't have much of education at all, got into management and married my grandmother, Margaret, and they had 5 children. My father was one of those children, and my grandfather raised his kids through terrible circumstances. The Great Depression, 10 years of horrible existence for people in this country with little to eat. And how did they manage through that? Well, they had a garden. They raised their crops and their vegetables to eat. They had chickens that they raised, and my father, when he was a little kid, he helped raise those chickens. And then World War II came along, and World War II was a terrible thing as well for the world, and with, I'm sure Graham and Pop can tell you about the various exercises they had to do, duck and cover, make sure that they were protected during a possible bombing raid. Lights had to go out, black shades, and all that stuff that followed World War II. So eventually, my grandfather, he saw all of this technology that was going on around him in the telephone company, and he said, this is the thing of the future. And he encouraged my father, when he was old enough, to study electrical engineering, to go to school. And because he saw the engineers at Bell Labs, Bell Telephone, they had a little bit better life than he had. They made a little bit more money. They had a little bit more prestige. They were able to support their family a little bit better than he could. So my father went off to college. He was the only child in that family to be given the opportunity to go to college. His sisters never had that opportunity. And, my father was happy to be there. So happy, in fact, it took him 6 years to go through school. It wasn't because he was happy, it was because he flunked so many classes that he had to stay there 2 whole years to finish out. But he never gave up. He struggled, and he worked his way through and got his degree, and then wound up getting a job at Bendix, and married my mother in 1959, and started their life together. About a year and a half later, I came along, and then followed my brother and my sisters, and
I was next.
yeah,
Then Jimmy, then Cheryl.
I stand corrected. And my parents never had a very elaborate life. They barely left New Jersey. We talk about where you guys were born and grew up. The folks on the farm, they barely left the farm, and that situation was similar to my parents' situation, right? They didn't have much. They had 4 kids to support. My father was doing well as an engineer, as my grandfather had hoped. But still, they had a modest life, and they grew their own vegetables. They had an immense garden in the backyard where, when dinner time came, my mother sent me out to go pick the vegetables that we were going to eat for that night, and brought them into the house, and we cooked the vegetables from the garden. Those same vegetables were canned and preserved for the winter, so during the winter we ate the vegetables out of that garden, and that's what supported the family. My father even raised chickens when we were kids to help sell eggs and make some money that way. My family, my brother and my sisters, we were the first Wagners to have the opportunity for all the children to go to college. And not only did we go to college, but some of us managed to get multiple degrees, which is really something else, huh? And so, I'm losing my place here, so give me a second. So, a little while after I left college, I met your mom, and we got married, and you guys came along, and we had fairly decent jobs together ourselves. Mom went to college, I went to college, we managed to get good jobs, and we worked hard. We worked hard throughout our careers. We worked our way up the corporate ladder. We managed to do better and better as the years went by, and were able to provide for the three of you guys, provide opportunities for you that we didn't have as children, which is great. And I can remember back when you children were very young, very little, I was saving my money to send you to college, right? And someone asked me one time, why are you saving money to send girls to college? They're just gonna, yeah, I know. They're just gonna get married, have kids, not work. It won't be worth the money. And I said, no, without hesitation, I said, my children are gonna be strong, independent, self-sufficient. They're going to have opportunities in life and be able to make choices in life with respect to what they do. Okay? And today, I think that dream has been accomplished, right? We have 3 college-educated kids in the family. We've gone from selling fish in the streets of New York to having a doctor in the Wagner family. Just incredible. Just incredible. So, little perspective on that whole thing, right? You know, you've all had great educations, and you can really do whatever you want in life. You can pursue additional education, you can climb corporate ladders, raise a family, or all of the above. You can do any of those things. The world's your oyster, as they say. And in just 5 generations, our family has gone from fish in the streets of Bronx to having a doctor. And the three of you stand on the shoulders of the generations before you. The opportunities that you have in life are due to the struggle and the sacrifice that they have put in on your behalf, basically. And their gift to you is a means to propel future generations to even greater heights and greater opportunities, and to make an even greater impact to the world. So now on to some fatherly advice. If you can stand a few more minutes here, appreciate it. So fatherly advice. The future is yours. Build the life that you want. The most important thing is that you are happy. Life is way too short to go through life in pain and misery. And if you can do something to change it, and you can always do something to change it. I have a digital frame on my desk at work, and I have pictures that flip through there every couple of minutes of you kids growing up. And it really makes me happy and smile every day when I see some of the goofy, crazy things that you guys did as kids, you know, I don't know, sticking pillows up your shirts and carving pumpkins and making funny faces for anything that you were doing. So it really makes me laugh, and I can see the smiles that you had on your faces. You were having a good time, you were enjoying yourself, you were happy. Don't ever lose that, okay? I still, to this day, really enjoy the laughs and the giggles I hear when something funny happens and you guys are giggling and having a good time, and that makes me very happy. So the other thing is, if things aren't fun, then change them. You have the tools to do it. If you need help, just ask. Ask your friends, ask your parents, ask your boss, ask your sisters. There's no shame in asking for help. It's actually a sign.
Your aunts.
Your aunts and uncles, your family, whatever. Right? There's no shame in asking for help. It's a sign of intelligence, actually. Things aren't always going to go your way. Go with the flow. Roll with the punches, just like you've been doing. Tackle challenges as they arise. I had a good friend named Mike Heiberger who used to say, one miracle at a time, which basically is, you know, let's solve one problem at a time, not worry about what might happen. Okay? If things don't work out, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, try again. Never give up. You guys like Starbucks, right? You all like to go to Starbucks and get your caramel lattes or whatever they are, right? Well, Starbucks wouldn't exist if the CEO, Howard Schultz, had given up after being turned down by 252 banks in the process of trying to start Starbucks. So think about that, right? Don't give up. Stay on the lookout for opportunities. Take advantage of them when they arise. If they don't arise, well, think it over and make your own opportunities. Have faith that things will work out. Take time to take care of yourself. Get out regularly, get some fresh air and some exercise. Stay on top of your health. Keep your body fit. Get medical attention when you need it.
We got a nurse.
Be pleasant and friendly. Be gracious and kind. The Boy Scout slogan is do a good turn daily. And that's really good advice to take heart. Always remember that you can learn something from anyone. From the janitor who sweeps the floors to the CEO. Be loving and thankful. Take time to go to church. Take time for prayer and thank God for all you have. Be patient and forgiving. Give people the benefit of the doubt. If you start feeling angry, count to 10. If you're still angry, count to 10 again. Plan for the future, but do your living today. I had an English teacher in high school. His name was Al LaPaglia, and I don't know if he was still there when you guys went through PV. No? Okay. He was quite a character, and I'm sure Uncle Jim had him. He could tell you stories, right? So anyway, he filled my head with all kinds of stupid phrases, but most of them from literature, from Shakespeare and stuff like that. But one of the things was carpe diem, and I remember that, right, distinctly. Seize the day. It's Latin, right? Seize the day. So take that to heart. Don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. Make the most of the time that you have. I saw a quote from Mike Bloomberg just this week, and he said, "Don't let planning get in the way of doing, in business and in life. Predicting the future is impossible. Enhance your skills, put in the time, and make tactical plans for the next few steps. Then, based on what happens, look one move ahead and adjust the plans. Don't be so concerned about making a living that you stop living. Life's a balance. Living at one extreme or the other is not optimal. There's going to be all kinds of trade-offs and balances in your life. Trade-offs between work versus play, kids versus job, spouse versus play, spouse versus job, money for vacation, money for retirement, money for the new pair of shoes, money for the vacation we want to take this week, right? All these balances. Try to live your life such that these balances are in balance, that you're not at one extreme or the other. It's a tremendous juggling act, but I think it will be to your benefit. Spend less money than you make. Put regular deposits into those Roth accounts. That will be the best money that you invest. Pay off your credit cards every month. Remember that nothing great was ever accomplished without taking some risks, putting in a lot of hard work, and bearing some pain and sacrifice. As you've learned from your gymnastics days, no skills are achieved without great practice, and this applies to anything, social and intellectual pursuits as well. So exercise those muscles too. Step outside your comfort zone. Take a chance, take some risk, try something new. Work on things you're not so good at and become great. Don't be complacent. Don't be satisfied with the mere mediocre. Always strive to improve. Go out and do great things. Go out and change the world. And remember to spread God's love as you do it. So, in conclusion, congratulations once again, Robin and Kristen, on your tremendous achievements here. We are so proud of your accomplishments. And we want to say God bless you as you embark on your new careers. And we wish you both great happiness and great success in the future.